this is Melina and
Jordan.
And we are the board certified BAes. And we are here today with Miss Emaley from Motivity. We're so excited.
Yes, we are. For those of you who don't know, you're the CCO, right?
Yes.
Of Motivity. And she has got a great story, and there's a lot that they're doing and that she's a huge part of. And we love using Motivity, so we just thought it was right to bring her on and talk. Thank you for doing this. Thanks for being here. We appreciate it. Carving out time.
Finally. Jordan and Melina, we've been trying to do this for a while.
No, it's okay. There's no better time than now. Even though we live in Southern California, it seems to be the trend that we just do things with people from Southern California outside of California.
Yeah,
Southern California.
I think people think that California is like all close together and they don't realize like, oh, California, you can just like drive. And I'm like, no, that's like hours of driving.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And now we're at least 8 hours from home or a plane flight from home, and we're meeting in a different city, different area. So.
Yeah, but we're still in California.
We're still in California, and it's working. So if you just wouldn't mind sharing a little bit about like your story, maybe how you got into the field. I know a lot of people always talk about it was an accident. So like hearing how you got into the field and like your kind of growth in the field, and then we can start getting into like what you're doing now.
Okay. So the way I got into the field was actually very intentional, not an accident. So that's kind of new. When I was very young, I was in elementary school and I was paired as like a student buddy. I was paired with a person with a disability, and I don't remember. I think it was 9 or 10, so I don't really know what disability she had, but I felt very honored to be picked to be her buddy. And I took it very seriously, and I would write notes and like take data for the teacher to let her know like when she wasn't paying attention or like trying to like kind of report. And so I told my parents after this experience, like, that's what I want to do. I want to work with children and I want to help them. So I didn't really know what that was. So when I was young, my mom said, oh, I think that's a child psychologist. So I would tell everyone when I was, when people said, what do you want to be when you grow up? And, it'd be like firefighter, ballerina, and I'd be like, a child psychologist.
That is funny. It's so good.
So I was lucky enough when I was in high school, we were doing tours of local colleges, and there was a flyer up on a bulletin board, where you can like pull like the slips of paper. And a flyer was asking for volunteers to watch children with autism during a parent support group. And I had just read a book about a child with autism. I wouldn't recommend it because it was like one of those old school like refrigerator mother books, but I didn't know at the time. I just read the book about this child with autism. It fascinated me. I wanted to learn more. So I volunteered at the parent support group, and there were several kids, and I brought like my bag of goodies, and I'm the oldest of 6 children. So I babysat all the time because I was homeschooled, and so like all the moms in the neighborhood were like, oh, she's home all the time, so she can babysit. So I had my babysitting bag, which that's what I called it, and it was pretty much like a reinforcer bag, right?
That is so cool.
You're so funny for that. Like just like from like the beginning already like doing all the things without even knowing what you were doing is like amazing. I love that. Okay, sorry, keep going.
Oh, thank you. So I showed up with my babysitting bag, and the parents were meeting because they were going to work with an organization called the Relias Institute, and this was in the 1995, 96. Yeah. And they were all going to put together this workshop together with the Relias Institute. And I'm listening and overhearing it and like super fascinated. Yeah. Because basically they're saying, 50% of children that go through this therapy, and they called it behavior modification at the time, could mainstream into regular school. And I was like just fascinated by those numbers. And so they invited me to come to the workshop as well. So then I got to learn very early on from Relias Institute. Also, there were some workshops from Autism Partnership, and at 16, they invited me to be one of the tutors or like the therapists at the time. So I'm 16 years old. I go to high school, and then after school every day I was working with 2 different kids with autism learning behavior modification, which now we know is applied behavior analysis. I mean, it was very, very different then than it is now. I was trained in a very different way. And I'm glad that I've had the chance to learn from different mentors and different people, because behavior modification in the 90s, you know, they were just learning, you know, they were doing their best to like help these families. But there's just been a lot of improvements since then.
Yeah.
So I went to school, got my degree in psychology, because at the time I think there was 2 ABA programs, one in Florida and one in California. But so I just went to Brigham Young University, got a degree in psychology, and then got married, because that's what you do when you go to BYU. And
I've had off topic, but I feel like on days where I kind of have to disengage, my choice of show has recently been Secret Life of the Mormon Wives.
oh yeah.
So I feel like I just am like, so like, yes. Okay, anyway, keep going. I digress.
So accurate.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really fun too. I like that show.
Yeah.
And my husband and I, he was a musician, totally different. Actually, it's funny, when I was going to school, my dream, I wanted to marry someone who was going into ABA or behavior.
Okay.
And so every time I would like work with kids, like I'd be like, okay, all the boys.
Scoping them out.
Because my dream was like, kind of do what you guys do, to like work together. And, but I married a musician, and it's probably really a great, yeah, it turned out really great, because we both complement each other so well.
Yeah. If it helps, mine was the opposite. I thought I was gonna marry a musician, and I married a behavior analyst. So, we swap lives.
There we go.
Oh, that's funny.
I had whatever the chips fell. Yeah, whatever the heart took me, it took me.
Well, we were pretty young, and we wanted to have some adventures before we started having children. So what do you do when you want adventures? You move to Hawaii. So we had both of us had never been, but we thought we're gonna pack our bags. So we actually for a summer worked 3 jobs. We worked our regular jobs, and then we cleaned houses early in the morning, like these model homes. So we'd get up at 5 a.m. clean houses. So we saved a bunch of money and said, okay, we're gonna move to Hawaii for 6 months just for fun. And so we moved to Hawaii, and both of us could, and I was like, I'm not gonna get a job in autism, because all I've ever done, and I just wanna try something new. Could not get a job to save my life for any, like they wouldn't have me, but then I saw somewhere in advertisement they were looking for a school district autism specialist. Okay. And I had my bachelor's degree in psychology. I've been working at ABA for, at that point, 6 years. So I applied, and I I got the role of like a district autism specialist. And in Hawaii.
That's amazing.
And it was amazing. It was an amazing job. There's a lot of leaders that came from Hawaii, because there was a lawsuit called the Felix Consent Decree, where a bunch of parents sued the state because they weren't getting services, and so the Hawaii had to like bring in a bunch of experts and like turn things around. So I got there right when that happened. And so I had a lot of opportunities to be kind of thrown into like leadership roles early on.
That's fascinating.
And then I got involved in HABA, and then I helped start a school for autism in Hawaii with a parent. And then this gave an opportunity where we then were able to start a school in Tokyo, Japan. And the reason why is because Hawaii is kind of like the closest spot for people in Japan. And at the time, autism services were non-existent in Japan, and so the families that could afford it would come over to Honolulu and enroll them in our school for the summer. So we would have like several kids from Japan every summer enrolled, and a few of the parents we became friends with, and they wanted us to open a school in Tokyo.
That's amazing.
So we opened a school in Tokyo, and so I was going back and forth between Honolulu and Tokyo. And what was super cool is it was 2005, and we were already doing teletherapy. We had we opened a school at Tokyo, and we put televisions in every room, and then we had like security camera technology in Honolulu where we could see and hear all the therapy rooms in Tokyo.
Wow.
Which was super cool because we could even like buzz in and talk through the monitors.
That is so cool.
And this was 2005. So that was like my job. I had to like work during the day in Honolulu, and then I'd stay late at night and watch the sessions in Tokyo and then go over there. And there was several of us that were going back and forth there. It was such a great opportunity. And then that's when I realized that, because we were traveling so much, we were traveling to Japan, but every time I'd go out there and I have to train a new group of parents and a whole new group of clinicians, and this was about the time YouTube was coming out, and I was like, what if I just created all these training videos and demonstrating the science, how it works, the procedures, like show the outcomes by real stories, and then when I go out there, I don't have to start from scratch. I can just build on top of it. So I took this idea and decided to leave the clinic I was at and just full-time start this business of creating online training videos. And it was about the time that my own son was diagnosed on the spectrum. So it was kind of this time where I was like, I'm working with all of these children, and I come home every day to then my son needing help. So it was like at this pivotal point where I was like, okay, I can be home more, and I can also continue to fulfill my mission in helping people with autism, families and individuals. So I started a company called Autism Training Solutions, and that was in 2010, with other clinicians helping, of course. And then we Autism Training Solutions started from just really like nothing. Like I put in a small amount of money. The co-founder, who was also a behavior analyst, who was my mentor, she put a small amount of money, and then we just made the first training video, and we did like a screening type of it, because it was documentary style, so it was like more cinematic-ish, so that people would be more engaged, because we weren't thinking like if someone's just clicking through PowerPoints, they're really not going to pay attention. They're just going to click through the PowerPoint. So we had a screening of it, and then somebody came to the screening and wanted to invest in the company. Wow. So that's how Autism Training Solutions started, and within 5 years, we had about 600 organizations using the software. We built a learning management system from scratch, because at the time there was really not very many like off-the-shelf learning management systems like today. Like There's like so many great ones, and it's so much easier today to do something like that. And then that company was acquired by Relias, and I joined Relias for a few years doing research, and had some opportunities to do like interdisciplinary, and then when that opportunity started to, it was just, Relias got very big, and I kind of missed my roots because it was not as focused on ABA as before. I had the opportunity to join a new tech company called Motivity in 2019. And I just jumped at the chance, because I wanted to get back to my roots, but stay in technology and be able to impact and disseminate the science at scale.
Yeah.
So
that's amazing.
Long story.
But it's a great story though.
I already thought you were cool, and now I'm like, oh my gosh, that's amazing. That's like, your story is awesome. So thank you so much for sharing. And I know that was just the highlights, so I can only imagine how much more there is. So thank you so much for sharing that.
I know, I just realized this year it's been 30 years since 1996. Like, I'm like, it was like 10 years ago. But it's 30 years, so yeah, I think I'm a dinosaur now.
No, you're a pioneer. You like paved the way for so much of what there is now. If you talking about,
you said it so casually.
Yeah, Like the first like video trainings, like and support using security systems to be in a different country. Like these are all like things that now we can do, and people do like, you know, teletherapy, telehealth services is like everyone wants to do it because everyone wants to work from home. But like you were doing this before it was even a thing.
Yeah, I mean the technology in Japan, like what's so interesting when you go to Japan, you think that everything's so futuristic and ahead of you know, and they were like in technology ways, but social services and education was like a decade or maybe 2 decades behind. I don't know what it's if it's still like that. 'Cause I haven't been back for a long time, but at the time that was really eye opener.
That makes sense. But still, like I was like amazed at that. Is such an amazing story.
Well, thank you.
So like, thank you for everything that you've done to get to here, and now like you're doing it with Motivity. So then like, when you said you wanted to get back to like the grassroots, right? And you missed that. I feel like, do you feel like the field as a whole is starting to feel that way too? Like, we have a lot of big companies and big private equity, but there's always, I hear a lot of BCBAs talking about like BCBA-led organizations now, and like really trying to shift back into the mom and pop stores. Like that used to be the thing. Then it was like, let's sell and let's be a like big organization. But now like the quality kind of dips. Do you feel like the field is shifting that way too? Being on the tech side, I guess.
This is what I think. I mean, I think in the 90s and the early 2000s, and even in the half the 2010s, ABA was still not fully funded publicly, and parents were paying for most of the services out of pocket. So behavior analysts or people working in the field, they didn't have a lot of stakeholders that they were accountable to other than the parents. Yeah. And that parent and clinician relationship was like the most important. It was a business relationship. They were paying you. As soon as there's third-party payers that got involved in the field, the industry completely shifted and changed. If I look back at working with families and after my session, it was like, here I took my data, I closed my binder, and I talked to the parents for a while, and I go home. Now there's so much more admin work overhead you have. I mean, progress reports were based on like how they wanted to see their progress, right? Now it's session note documentation, audits, treatment plan reviews. I mean, making sure you're able to bill correctly and ethically, accurately. So this is what I think. I think clinicians, yes, they want to go back to their roots. I feel like in most positions, if you have to start your own company, you can't really get to the roots because you're going to be distracted with learning how to run your business, learning how to work with payers. Okay. Yeah. But if you're working for a company that's doing that already for you, like they have that system down, then I think there's more time for you to get back to your roots because you don't have to, your full-time job is not navigating the payer landscape. Yeah.
No, that makes sense. It is a really good perspective because, you know, people jump at the chance and or they talk about like, you know, just show up, do the work, and then I'll get paid, and forget about 30, 60 to 90 day like payer cycles and things like that you know, undoubtedly if you don't prepare for, will have an agency fail. And so in the field, being in the data side and the technology side, how do you see technology helping with all of this?
Technology is allowing us to scale services to keep up with the demand. I don't know if you guys have attended the BACB's presentations recently, like Jim Carr talking about like at the speed at which the ABA field had to grow is like unprecedented in healthcare. And because of the speed at which the clinicians are needed, and like how quickly like they're certifying, how quickly RBTs are being certified, technology is the only way that we're going to be able to efficiently meet all of those needs. So I mean, talking about like training, so you look at university programs, like it would be great if every person had the ability to go in person to a university, but it's just not realistic. And so there are ways to educate online effectively, and so that's technology is going to help there. And then when you get into the field and you're practicing, technology is going to allow you to efficiently do all the documentation, data collection, meet all those payer requirements without a ton of overhead and the time. So technology can also allow us like teletherapy and help families that aren't able to get access services. So many ways. And I feel like I never knew I would end up landing in this space in terms of, I thought, you know, as a little kid, I'm going to be a child psychologist. Like I didn't say I'm going to be a chief clinical officer of a software company. But I don't feel like I've landed too far off.
Right. And so kind of getting into, you know, Motivity, since you kind of been there, or you have been there since like the beginning at this point, right? Could you kind of give us an understanding of what the initial vision was for Motivity and where kind of maybe now the direction is going and what you guys are kind of wanting to provide for ABA companies?
Yeah, the initial vision was from our founder, Rex Jacobovitz, and he is a PhD software engineer who built technologies in healthcare. First, he started in radiology, and one of the things that he's brilliant at is writing and receiving a National Institute of Health grants. So when he left McKesson, because he sold his business to McKesson Healthcare, he wanted to find another opportunity to write a grant, and he had a friend he was up at he was up in Seattle. He had a friend that was running, or an acquaintance that was running an autism clinic, and he went to visit and he saw that they were all still using binders and like clipboards, and he had just built similar technology in a different vertical or a different space, and so he said, this is what I'm going to do, this is my next project. He wrote an SBIR grant, which is Small Business Innovation Grant, and was given, he wrote multiple of them, so he received several, and he was able to fund Motivity with $11 million from NIH funding. And in response to that, it's small business innovation, so it's not really a research grant, but part of the small business innovation grant is you do have to conduct research to prove that you built what you said you're going to build and that it works. So Motivity's North Star has always been the clinical research and outcomes that the technology was meant to provide. So big part of me coming into the company was to guide how the technology should work so that clinicians then could meet those outcomes. How, you know, what are the instruments, what type of measures need to be built out, what does that need to look like from the RBT side so that it's familiar enough to data collect, the type of data collection that they're used to collecting. From the beginning, we built a clinical data collection, and we realized that the workflows of clinical data collection needed to flow into also the documentation and payer space, because you take data and you definitely need to be able to see if your treatment plan is working. But then you also have to provide evidence to stakeholders that it's working as well. So it needs to be able to generate session notes. It needs to be able to generate reports that can go to your biller. So the writing was on the wall that we needed to integrate or build a practice management system. So we started in the beginning when we were a startup to integrate with practice management systems that were already in this space and doing great work. That was a really pivotal part for Motivity, because businesses that needed to operate efficiently now could use Motivity with their practice. We grew pretty steadily with that, and then it got to a point where we realized that we could continue the integration strategy, but we needed to also provide like an all-in-one experience, because some organizations really value one neck to strangle, like one place to go to get the all end-to-end experience from data collection, practice management, RCM. So this last year we've launched our all-in-one, and then we just recently launched RCM. And the company went from, when I started, there were 5 employees.
Right.
So I wasn't quite the very beginning.
Okay.
But now we're about 60 employees.
Yeah, hearing that, we kind of were talking about it the other evening, and I was just like in shock of, wow, that's huge, that's amazing. And also I love that you guys have grown, but again, like the quality and what you guys bring to the table hasn't been diluted through that, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Now you guys use Motivity. Do you?
That's going to be more of a Jordan question. He still currently is using it often.
Mm-hmm.
I am not at the same clinic anymore, so he's probably going to be the one to ask about all the ins and outs of Motivity.
Yeah, and we've talked before about things like wish list things that you really want to have, which we love. I'm just curious, like, what are the things that Motivity, what are the things that stand out to you that Motivity helps you in your business with?
Yeah. So, I mean,
sorry, I'm switching them.
No, that's okay.
I'm the host.
No, that's okay.
I'm just curious.
No, yeah. So, the first initial thing that was great was the ability to be able to capture IOA without having to sit over somebody's shoulder. Like, I could be back and hear the trials and like see it and see the screen updating in real time. Yeah, so it's happening in real time. So I was like, okay.
That was very helpful.
And so that one was great. I also like the video feature of being able to like record a video, and that's how I want something to be run, and I don't have to be in every single session to do it. I can do a model, have it recorded, put it in there, and it's in the timeline. You can see it. Refer back to the timeline, guys. Come on, it's right there. That is super helpful. The hazard signs that you did, because I was in the study for that with the red and the yellow.
That's right, you were in the study.
I was in the study and I was like, oh my gosh, this just changed the game. This is so good. I was like, this is red, run it. Come on, guys. I think the only thing that I'd add is that it would be nice if you could choose between session or day. Because sometimes in a day you have like 2 sessions because the kid's got a 6-hour window, and we refuse to have one staff with somebody for 6 hours because that integrity, just like quality goes down, and because at that time you're just hanging out after a bit of time.
Sense.
So like choosing between day and session, because sometimes a session might only be an hour because they got something happened and the parents had to take them to a doctor's appointment, and so then it's red for the next session even though there was only an hour. So it was like, well, yeah, that makes sense. But for the day, we can't tell if it was like ran yesterday.
I love that suggestion.
So,
yeah, I can see, especially because people have to break up sessions smaller now for different payer requirements. Yeah.
Yeah, and like in California, you have to make sure you got the 10-minute breaks that are in there. If people are working so many hours, like it has to like that. So that breaks up the session, and then making sure lunch is at the right time, especially when having a clinic. So I guess this is just more of a clinic thing, because when you're in home, you don't really have 2 staff coming to switch off, but in a clinic we do. But I did enjoy and love that feature when it came out. And then the other one that you guys just did too, of being able to keep track of the trial count and all that's in the like timeline. I was like, that is extremely helpful, because I'm like, okay, somebody's only hitting like 70 and they're there for 2 hours, but this one's at nearly 200. So I was like, they might need some more support. So it helps me to identify who needs to have support more and stuff. I could probably keep going. There's like there's so many features. I was like, wait, you're gonna ask me this question? Yeah. There are so many features that I do like enjoy. I think if whoever it is, somebody needs to solve an automatic, and I've got the demo for the all-in-one, but somebody needs to be able to solve the automatic regeneration when things like happen. So somebody gets a flat tire, they can't be there, just like to juggle the entire schedule. I think that's one of the things in clinics. If kids already show up, you can't send them home midway through. Like, we have to find a way to have coverage. So like if staff calls out sick or gets a flat tire, gets in an accident, they can't be there to cover the second half. We rejuggle the schedule so that way no kid is without a staff. And so like whoever can solve that problem, I'd be so amazed. And I saw a little bit.
Yeah, so so we just released our AI scheduler. Right, and so I don't know if that would solve that problem, but
I think there's not enough rules like that we'd be able to do. Because like for us, we have the BCBAs jump in and cover where we can't. So it might end up with a BCBA doing like an hour of it because somebody else can do the rest of it, which is fine. It makes for good quality, and it's honestly a lot easier than writing reports and doing other stuff. It's so much fun. But there'd have to be a rule that'd be like, okay, the last person to grab is a BCBA to fill in that spot, and something like that. So,
yeah. All right.
That's
good to hear.
But I still love it. And then I know that you guys are working on the AI being able to filter the notes, and that's one of the things that we talked about too. Because like if I only have PC once a month, or because a family's only available once a month, and their kid has 10 sessions in a week because they got 2-3 hour sessions a day, and then there's supervision, and that timeline gets really long for me to scroll to find the last PC note. Even if it's like once a week, it's like still 30 notes down that I gotta scroll. So being able to sift through that fast would be really, really nice. But I know it's coming. So.
All right.
But I mean, look, that, and I think the other thing that I would say about Motivity that has been far greater than anybody else that we demoed or like tried to like work or partner with and get stuff was the company culture that you have. Just the people speaking to, right? I feel like at this point, I think I know the C-suite. Right? Have you, Christy was the first like liaison that we had. Now it's Smith, and then Mark. I haven't met Rex.
Oh,
But it's who I keep telling, everyone keeps saying like, you gotta meet. And I'm like, and it's to me, it's funny because we're just like small people. Like we're not anybody like famous, no big name or anything, but yet still being treated like quality like, human beings and genuine. And
meeting Mark for the first time. Like I was a fan of whoever was running the Instagram page from like the beginning when we were working at the same clinic. I'd always be on Motivity's like looking at their Instagram. I'm like, this like Gen X girly is like so good at her job. And then I was like, Mark, and then just getting to know him. Yeah, in Portugal. He's awake right now. Like amazing person. And then just finally getting to meet him in real life and being like, no, he's really that kind. Like that
Genuine.
has been so sweet to kind of just meet all of you guys, and even remind me of the one that you guys been helping, Katie. I have never even met her, and she was hugging me like I was like, I love them. Like, I'm about to go, fly with them to the next thing. Like, you guys have just been all so kind and welcoming to us, and that is something that you can't fake. And so that definitely is huge, and we appreciate that. So thank you guys.
Well, thank you. Yeah. We were hanging out last night at the behavior bash party together, and all of us just said, we hit the lottery. We hit the jackpot like working at Motivity. Yeah. It's really great.
It's amazing. Yeah. And okay, fun question I'm gonna kinda ask. Because you travel so much for conferences and you've been in the game for a long time, what is your favorite, like one specific favorite conference that you've attended that's like the number one memory? And it could be because of the location, it could be because of the conference itself, because of who you were with. What's like your favorite conference of all time, like experience?
Can I say two?
Sure.
Okay, I'm gonna start with my favorite conference experience of all time was my first, the very first WEBA, Women in Behavior Analysis conference. It was in Nashville. Okay. And it was very affirming and almost like healing.
Yeah.
I went there and they had a Women's Hall of Fame where several of the mothers of behavior analysis were given, I guess, given their stories and their credit. And I think at the time only one of them was still alive. Mm-hmm. But their stories were just kind of silent. They were like silent heroes in behavior analysis, and I was able to learn about how they contributed and what they sacrificed. Mm-hmm. That was very cool. Second one was honestly this last year going to Black Men in Behavior Analysis. So awesome. I loved Andre Anderson. He was the first time I met Andre Anderson, and I went to his talk, and it was like going to church and a conference session, like a CE at the same time, and I wanted to stand up and like go, hi.
his talk, he has a way with words.
Yeah.
That's
the
like
poetry, and then his like love for Skinner. I learned a lot. I also loved the basketball game.
Champion. No big deal.
Not a big deal at all.
It was really unique experience, and I'm really lucky that I got to go. So that was great.
I mean, you were talking at that one too. Like that was one of the panels that I was like, I need to go to this one because I've never seen like a panel like that. I've never heard of a panel like that, and it might just be because I haven't looked hard enough or like found it, and it just happened to be there. And when I saw it, because helping with the conference and doing all those things or the summit, that was like on the list, and I told her, I was like, this is the one that I have to be at. It's like, if I have to work throughout this whole thing and help get all the speakers everywhere, this is the one I'm sitting for.
That's really cool.
And so there was that, because I also knew that the keynotes were going to be fine. Like I can sit at the keynote, so I did get to see Andres as well, and like sitting at the keynotes.
And the panel was a bunch of parents.
Yep.
And some of them were also neurodivergent or on the spectrum themselves.
Yep.
That was very, very cool.
Everyone's story was just, it was so meaningful to hear that side. I think it really was rooted in hearing your story too. It was just, it was a perspective that I think is needed because we do parent consults and things like that. But a lot of times the parents, I don't feel like are as vulnerable as they could be, because we are a professional. Like we're a therapist coming in, and they want to show that they can keep it together or that they're working. And of course we encourage them to be their authentic selves, but up there, it just felt like, it felt like you guys had known each other for a while. Like maybe it's because you guys have all lived similar experiences or had like different things. But just the genuine vulnerability that you guys shared on that panel, I think was just so amazing. I even went and watched it back, or listened to it, because I was like, well, it's not an audio book, but I'll listen to it in the car. Don't want to get pulled over for having YouTube on the side or like Behavior Life, but.
And just like as a mom, I just want to say thank you. It's always encouraging and inspiring to see like moms like doing their thing in business, because sometimes it feels like you have to choose. And so like seeing you do it and do both well is like huge and encouraging. So thank you for showing me that it's possible, because sometimes, it's like that mom guilt of like, am I doing enough here? Am I doing enough there? And never feeling like you're doing enough in either space. And so thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. It's, I would have to say thank you to my partner and my husband too, because you can't, sometimes you feel like you can't do it, but if you have a partner who is willing to like really step in to play the caretaker role, even in like cultures that are not, that's not like expected, then you've like hit the jackpot. We said it at the same time.
Literally, because that same, I'm a doula too, and so there's times where I'm like, I gotta go, and he's like, it's fine, I got it. So he's literally rushing from clinic to pick up the girls and get them ready for school the next day. So 100% is
true partnership. That's great.
The importance of picking the right one. So.
It is, it just comes easy, I think, if you're with the right person. Even this podcast is her idea. This whole thing, she put it together mainly because of the house that we built, and it took a lot longer than we thought. So renovating that house for like 18 months, and then she's like, you can't do anything, I got the next ideas. And so she's like, podcast. I was like, I don't know if I want to do that, but because you suggested it is your turn, you got it, let's do it. So,
But it's playing on his skills as well because he's a great clinician and a very good teacher. So again, I think that it just, when it's the right person, you complement each other. So yes.
And you got a really cool accent. So listen to that.
That's what got me. Just kidding.
yeah, from the beginning.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today. Do you have any last questions or comments before we wrap up?
I feel like I could sit and talk for hours, honestly, just because you're so sweet, so kind, and so cool with everything that you're doing. But I'd rather ask you, is there something that you would want to leave off with, even if it's like what you're doing now, like what you're planning for the future with Motivity, or what you want to happen, vision, or just for yourself, if you would like to share?
Sure. I mean, I'm excited about so many things about my career and Motivity, but I would say, you know, coming to middle age has been such an incredible experience. You know, I think people think like, middle age, like midlife crisis. Like, I think I want to rebrand the whole midlife crisis thing to be like midlife enlightenment, because you just get to, I feel like it's like a new adolescence. I've been able to be more forgiving of myself, to like love past versions of myself, and open my mind to like all new possibilities and new perspectives. And so anyway, if anyone is worried about growing old, I would just say I think it's pretty awesome. Lots of things, good things come from it. I mean, the aches and pains, not so much, but
Yes.
I mean, I'm only 46, so I have a lot of growing old to do, but getting into your 40s so far is awesome.
Yeah, I love that. Thank you.
That is great.
Look forward to it.
It's a change of perspective. This is good.
Well, thank you guys for joining us today, and thank you, Emily, for joining us today. We hope you guys have a wonderful day, and we'll catch you next time. Bye.
Bye.